Perfect. Welcome to the session. I'm pretty excited. It's a lot of people here joining today, and we will have 20 minutes more or less for the session, and then at the end we will have 5 minutes Q&A. The platform does not allow for raising your hand or interrupting in any way, so feel free to uh, post your questions in the chat, and at the end, with the help of Sophia, thank you, Sophia, we will answer your questions. And if you have any issues with the audio or anything, just let us know in any way. In the chat, I guess. Sophia is here to help. So let's start. I've been asked today to talk about personal and interpersonal competencies, also known as soft skills. So this is where we will focus today. Just a couple of words as far as I am concerned. If you don't know me, my name is Diego Cresceri. I'm from Italy. I'm a translator by education. I'm actually an interpreter, but was too lazy to do that in my life. It's really a difficult job. Never done that, not a single hour, a single session. I found myself being a translator in a company, and then moved to project management, to operations management in that company, then moved from that company and founded Creative Works. We are a translation company based in Italy, in Genoa and Milan. I'm a board member of ELIA. ELIA is the European Language Industry Association, basically an association of language service providers or translation companies. The reason why I'm here today is because I am also a lead expert. I'm part of the language industry expert group, representing ELIA, representing the association. I'm 44 years old and I have 2 kids. So the starting point from this presentation is the EMT Competence Framework. In case you don't know it, I did a QR code where you can access the full framework. Just a couple of words on that. This is a set of standardized guidelines for master's level training in Europe. It's, if I'm not mistaken, 36 skills. Some of them are soft skills, some of them are more technical or operational skills. And it really defines what are the key competencies on language, on intercultural aspects, and on the subject expertise. It also prioritizes digital literacy for today's industry. This is, of course, very important, not the focus for today's presentation, but there are some technical skills there as well. And it establishes, this is really important, it establishes an educational benchmark to kind of align the academia with the, what I call real world, with the industry. And this is also what we're doing within the Lean Group as well. And as Lean expert, I took part in the selection of some of the universities as far as employability is concerned. And I really believe this is a really good partnership that we have within the industry and the academia work. You know, sometimes they're not completely aligned, and I believe this is a continued dialogue that we should really have. Again, if you want to have a deeper look into this competence framework, it should be working, the QR code. Do it now because I'm moving to the next slide pretty soon. At the end, you will get the slides in some way, I guess, in any way. So, or you can Google EMT Competence Framework. I try to make it easy for you. So let's move on to the skills. Of course, I had to listen some of them, which I believe are really important. It's not exclusive. The list could be really longer, but we need to focus on some of them at least. And at the end, I will show you also slides with some key points that are not necessarily skills, just suggestions, because you are here today to take the most of the event, whether you are attending online or not, on site. So you will find a slide for that as well at the end. Let's start from communication. Of course, communication is essential. I mean, we are all working in language. It goes without saying that it's essential for translation tasks, for interpreting, because it facilitates understanding between different languages and cultures. If you are a linguist and a translator, of course, you need to deliver a clear message, but I also want to stress how effective communication is important in your day-to-day job, not just on the translation tasks that you perform. You need to be aware, you need to be talking with customers, you need to be sensitive from a cultural point of view. You need to be aware of non-verbal communication, really important. Many times it's really underestimated, the importance of um, non-verbal communication. And in any kind of role that you might cover, of course, you need to be able to manage feedback, to give feedback, and even more important, to receive feedback. And this has, of course, to do with communication. I could go on forever talking about communication is important in any tasks and in any task and any situation that you find yourself in. Stress management. I mean, we live in a time where our industry is really under some stress at the moment uh, from a global perspective, but stress management is also important in your day-to-day life. You need to be able to prioritize tasks. You need to be able to have goals. Sometimes, if you are just starting, you might tend to accept more tasks than you can manage, but you need to be realistic on that. You need, this is a suggestion, it's not something you need to do, but if you practice some mindfulness as well, if you find your way to find your, relaxation, and this is also helpful for your uh, working work-life balance. You need to be resilient. Again, we are living in a very difficult moment for our industry, I believe. If you're starting or if you are already working, you need to be very resilient. It's really crucial. In your day-to-day life, managing stress also means having to do with tight deadlines, having to do with very important tasks. And if you don't find your way to balance this stress, you might find yourself in trouble, no matter your level of technical skills and your level of, language master, whatever. Let's move on. Teamwork. If you work, whether you work on your own, in your room at home, or uh, in an office, in a co-working space, you need to be able to develop good team working skills. Sometimes you might also find yourself working in multicultural settings, and this is something I wish you could do because it's really enriching. You need to be culturally aware, of course, of the people you're working with, be it your customers, your colleague, even the reviewer that you might find yourself working in. You need to, of course, be open-minded. Uh, Towards the other people that you're working in, and you need to be also able. This has to do with communication as well. You need to be able to adapt your communication styles. Maybe you need to be more formal in a situation or less formal in another one, or you need to adapt your communication style because you are kind of defending your work with your reviewer. And this has, again, it's probably more communication than teamwork, but it also has to do with working within a team, of course. Respect diversity might sound basic, but this is also something that you need to be acquainted with. Time management. I mean, I discussed stress in the slide before. It has also to do with prioritizing your tasks. You cannot believe how many times I found myself in troubles when working with by myself, and this is something I don't like to do. I need to have someone, checking the clock all the time. Prioritizing tasks, if you work by yourself, is really important. You cannot do everything. As a newcomer in the industry, you probably have to also work on communication, find new customers. So when I talk about prioritizing tasks, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the translation of the language task. You need to put in your agenda many different activities. Of course, it has to do with setting deadlines that have to be realistic as well. Sometimes it's you having to set your own deadlines. This also has to do with not allowing yourself to work at night if you don't want to, or don't do that because you're late, for instance. You need to learn how to break tasks into steps. You might get a huge project that might sound really, overwhelming, But if you break into the steps, it's easy for you to manage that. Procrastinating is not really good, and I'm so bad at that. Um, of course, this is when then you find yourself working at night, or skipping dinner, or not spending sometimes with your family and your friends. Uh, and in order to you have realistic deadlines, you prioritize tasks, you avoid procrastination. Of course, you need to monitor your progress. You have a deadline, you break the big tasks into smaller tasks, and you need to monitor yourself. Uh, let's suppose you have a project that lasts 10 days. You break your 10 days, maybe you also take some free time. You break the 10 days into smaller tasks, and then every day you monitor your progress, and so that you're not surprised at the end that you still have to translate 5,000 words, for instance, and you have a deadline in 2 hours. And of course, your customers will also be very happy about that. In a world where change is really becoming the norm, and again, this is really something we are living this very moment, being adaptable and flexible is really the key. You need to be able to adapt change. Of course, you know that our industry again is kind of threatened by artificial intelligence, by machine translation, by the customers that sometimes think that this kind of technology can do everything. And this is really where you need to embrace change. You need to upskill and update your skills. You need not to, in my opinion, this is really my personal opinion, you don't need to just say, I don't want to work with technology. Technology is not there, because technology is there, and technology will be there, and it will improve. And we need to be constantly changing what we do, how we do, the tools that we use, the tools that we master. Being adaptable and flexible has to do with ongoing training, has to do with not saying no to a job just because it's new for you, and it may be even maybe even scary for you. You need to adapt to customers' needs, because if the customers are changing, then probably if you don't change, they will be looking for someone else. And if you are just starting, and this is something I lived in the past as well when I started my own company, if you are just starting, it might be easier for you to be able to change for many different reasons. One reason might be that you need to start working. Of course, this is really a good one, but you are not used to working in a old way, so you find yourself in this case in a better position to be adaptable and keep changing what you do. You will find yourself working in different contexts, different companies, different processes. You will probably have, and this is a wish for you, you will have many different customers. Everyone will have their own processes, their own workflows. So being adaptable and flexible, and being in a situation where you keep learning is really, really important. Also, I mentioned learning already. When I say learning, I'm referring, of course, to learning new technologies, new processes, new tools. I had to learn like dozens of tools, and I like that, so it was easy for me. This is probably something that you will find yourself facing, of course. Uh, but it also has to do with staying informed with industry trends, and this can be done just by for instance, building your network on LinkedIn, following the people that are kind of setting the new trends or are just talking about the new trends. Um, you need to be able, and probably one of the reasons why you are here today, to be able to be learning from peers as well. Our industry is an industry where most people at least, tend to share their experience. They're very candid about the issues that they face, and you don't want to face the same issues that someone has already solved. And this can be done by talking, just by meeting with your peers, talking with them, by being very transparent on the issues that you have, and by asking for help as well. We are very lucky because our industry is really open in that sense. There are some certifications, might sound really basic, but there are some good certifications that you can take. Well, not many, some companies are also, issuing certifications for free training. And this is something that you can add to your CV, but most importantly, just look for any opportunity for learning and upskilling yourself. Of course, you need to be transparent with yourself and with your peers and customers about your performance, and you need to, and this sort of self-reflection that you need to do. The ideal process would be you identify a place or a skill that you want to develop. You do a self-analysis of yourself, and you try to bridge the gap by finding some learning opportunities. When I started uh, many years ago, I won't tell you how many. Well, I am 44, so I started 11 years ago, 19 years ago in the industry. There were not as many opportunities for upskilling and training that we have today. It's amazing the number of channels and formats that you can learn, where you can learn. Could be YouTube, could be LinkedIn again, but again, companies offering free training. You have many, many opportunities. This is also something that you need to put in your agenda. I really believe in, ongoing training and the fact that you need to reserve some space in your day-to-day work for upskilling. Nowadays, with what our industry is facing, this is becoming even more important. I already discussed slightly about self-evaluation and growth. As linguists, I mean, this is applicable probably to any kind of job, uh, even outside of our industry. But as linguists, you need to be able to recognize your strengths and your and where you can grow, where you can get better. You need to be able to set your own personal goals, tracking the progress. As I said before, you need to be able to get feedback and learn by it, not just saying this is bad feedback and the reviewer is wrong. I mean, you need to take the feedback as a good opportunity for growing. Identifying your strengths and your weaknesses helps you even in promoting your services and finding your customers. It's not easy. It's not easy to take feedback or just to be self-transparent about our weaknesses. You need an approach. You need to be able to get used to it. Sometimes we don't like when people come to us and tell us, this is wrong. We take it on a personal level. We don't need to take it on a personal level. We need to take the feedback on and commit to improve. And this is really important. When you're starting, it's even more difficult because you're not used to it. I mean, we are not in an academia setting anymore. We have customers. Fear might come into play. You might be fearing the customer is not going to pay me, or sometimes they will try to do that, even unfortunately. So if you're starting, might be even more difficult. But the sooner you develop this skill, the better for your future. Um, I already mentioned that in a way. I really believe that being able to build strong relationships is really, really important. I based all the success or all the work we've done with our company on networking. Networking means talking with peers again. It also means talking with people that one day might become your customers or might be remembering you when they need your services, for instance. There are so many different ways to develop a good network of relationships. Of course, on-site networking is really good. This is not exclusive. I mean, there are so many different ways to network and create a strong network for yourself. Networking is also good for establishing trust in your potential customers, in your peers, of course. Uh, Communication, transparency. I mean, I could talk forever about the skills that goes under building strong relationships. You need to be credible. You need to be reliable. And I want to stress how important it is to support each other. Again, we are in an industry that usually is good on supporting each other. Sometimes you might be shy on asking for help. Um Mutual support is really, really important. I don't want to. I have a last slide that has nothing to do with what I shared already. Well, it's some of these items have actually. Whether you are on site or virtually, make really an effort to meet new people. If you are attending on site today, for instance, in the next couple of days, this is a really huge opportunity to introduce yourself to speakers. Uh, we have a bunch of lean experts around that you can join. Again, it might be scary. We are just people. We are called experts, but we are normal people, very open to, to have a coffee with you, to discuss anything, to answer questions that you might have. This is something I wouldn't do when I was starting. I was really, really shy. But now that I remember that I was shy and I would not even dare uh, going close to people and talk, my suggestion is come to us, connect with other attendees. If you're not attending on site, do it online, whatever, but do it because this now you have to start building your network again. Come and find us. I think we will find some ways to make ourselves recognizable uh, in the event. If you're not coming to the event on site, use the platform to connect with us on LinkedIn and let's start these conversations. Last year, there was a very shy intern of the commission, and we started talking, and she's now working with us for 10 months. I'm not saying I'm hiring everybody that I talk with, but might be your good opportunity. There are many sessions at the event. Take some notes because when you go back, you will not be able to remember everything and try and engage. If you learn something and you want to go deeper into the topic, try and engage in post-event learning as well. I this the last thing I just put here the QR code. This time it gets you to my LinkedIn profile. Let's connect and let's talk. I'm quite busy lately, but I will find the time to reply to you at some point at least. And this would have been my last slide. Thank you very much for joining. Enjoy the event. This is my third event. It's an amazing event. I'm pretty sure it will be remembered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diego. I see we have a question in the chat and from Rudy. And according to you, how should university teach soft skills and evaluate their acquisitions? While everyone agrees such skills are crucial, it is not always easy to see how they can be taught.
This is true. Thank you, Rudy. It's very true. It's difficult. I believe the best way to learn these skills is to put the students in a real world scenario, in a real world setting where they can, like, creating team. I know many universities of the EMT network have fake teams, fake translation or internal translation agencies where you can practice your communication skills being a project manager, for instance, being a translator in a team, in a real setting where you talk with the customer or you can talk with the reviewer. I believe soft skills are better or maybe even quicker learned by doing. So I would suggest that more universities develop this opportunity to work in a real scenario.
Thank you,
This
Diego.
answers the question.
It seems there are no more questions in the chat so far, but please feel free. We still have 1 minute, so if anyone has another question.
Let me stress again then, so we will not just be silent. Connect with us, connect within yourselves, connect with any participants. I mean, I met so many good people here in the last couple of years. And next year you might be having your place and telling your story to someone else. These happened. This morning there was this intern that I met last year was presenting. So it's really a good opportunity, a great opportunity. I know that we don't have just wannabes or starters. in the audience. That is more for the audience, but you might be working for many years and then you're still shy. Don't be shy. Doesn't work.
Thank you very much. I think we are at the end of the session now. And thank you, Diego, for your amazing presentation. And thank you, everyone, for your participation.
Thank you for joining. Thank you, Sophia, for your help.